Welcome back to round one, where we play just the beginning of a game, or in this case, maybe the entire game, to give you a taste of what it's like. Yes, this is Disney Sorcerer's Arena. We're going to be playing this today with a collection of characters that include some from the Turning the Tide expansion.
Yeah, for those who aren't aware what this game is, it's almost like an arena battle. You're facing off on teams of 3 versus 3 made up of famous Disney characters. Now, these characters can be drafted from both heroes and villains.
Yes.
And you actually have a little bit of mixture on your team. So you're going to have some bad guys working alongside good guys here on your team.
And like Ryan said, this is an arena battler. It's in the name itself. We're going to be moving these characters around, potentially collecting some victory points, but also trying to knock out our rival characters. And when we do that, we're going to score some more significant victory points. And this is a race to get 12 victory points, or until our decks are empty and we can't draw cards. I'm guessing the victory points is going to determine it first.
David kind of alluded to this fact. This game is not designed to be a long, drawn-out game. This is designed to be the kind of game that you throw out, 2-player game, and maybe knock out a couple games on a lunch break.
Mix up characters.
Yeah, switch out your characters, and each character has a card. Each character also has different play styles, different abilities, different keywords. They're very different in the way that they perform on the battlefield.
Yeah, and you may have seen some content out there in the world already. One thing you may not have seen is some of the stuff that this Turning the Tide expansion includes. There are oceanic characters. That expansion includes 3 oceanic characters, but of course there are some from the original game, like Ariel, which Ryan has. But these new characters are going to be able to bring ocean tiles onto the board. The ocean tiles for all oceanic characters are going to allow them to get a little extra maneuverability. When they move into one, it leaves the board, but they get an additional move when they're moving around the board. Get to ride the wave. And some of the characters, including Moana, which is one of mine, actually has some cards in her deck that will utilize these tokens for a more offensive ability.
Yeah, so let's talk about our characters really fast, because we drafted these already before we turned the cameras on, and we each picked our 3 characters. Now, I picked Demona from Gargoyles, who's a villain, but I love Gargoyles, and she's the only Gargoyles character included. I'd love some more Gargoyles characters. But she can boost herself with traits. One of the traits she can get is Strong, which increases the amount of damage that she can do. So she's all about boosting herself. And then Ariel, who you mentioned, is oceanic. She can dig for thingamabobs by looking through her deck for specific cards.
She's got plenty.
Which she has. She does have plenty. And then I have Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, the Fantasia version.
Yes.
Much like that animation, he summons broomsticks, and he gets little broomstick tokens that will come out, and he could use those to power some of his cards.
Yeah, so I have some different characters. Yeah. I have Gaston, who is the real hero from Beauty and the Beast, really. Right? I'm kidding completely. The villain from Beauty and the Beast. Gaston is a very physical character. He's got a lot of hit points. He can go around, and some of the cards he has allows him to shove, which a lot of the characters don't have this, but he's able to manipulate the positioning of some of the rival characters. Then I've got Stitch and Moana. These are both from this expansion. They're both oceanic characters. Stitch has a lot of interesting abilities that are based on its health. Whether it's even or odd, Stitch will gain some bonuses. Moana, like I said before, has some abilities that really use those ocean tiles, so I'm going to try to utilize those as best as I can. Yeah. And then we also, before we started rolling with the cameras, set up the initiative order. Each player is going to take their characters, stack them up, and then reveal them. And the top character of each stack has an initiative that's going to be compared to one another. Whoever has the lower initiative, or higher rather, is going to go up here, and then they're going to be in the 1st, 3rd, and 5th spot, and then the other player is going to be in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th spot. So starting is going to be Moana in this case.
We've also already drawn up to our hand size. Our hand size is variable. It's built by your characters. Every character has a hand size. You add it together. That's your total hand size. So we've already drawn our cards, and we've taken our player aid reference card. What's interesting about this game is it actually plays over 4 chapters that kind of introduce new rules as you go, which is really great for if you're playing with kids or family members that aren't normally gamers. You can kind of ease them into some of the more advanced mechanics. Obviously, we're gamers.
Yeah.
We're jumping right to Chapter 4. We're using everything. So you'll see it all in the game.
So just to give you an idea, Chapter 1 is basically the tutorial for the game, all the way up to Chapter 4, which includes all of the various steps and the things that the characters can do, in addition to the last chapter including the ability to upgrade characters. Yeah. Each of these cards can be flipped during their activation if you've discarded specific cards according to their upgrade tokens here. So I've only got 5 cards. You have 6, right?
I have a hand size of 6.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gaston only has 1 card, but he's probably because he's
10 health.
He's got some other things to balance it out. And like I said, Moana is going to be going first, so I'm going to go start with Moana. At the beginning of every turn, you're going to check a couple things. One, you're going to see if you're on one of these victory point spaces. We're not.
Nope.
We'll bring that up later when we are, but you'd get a point from those at the beginning of your turn. Then you're going to return the KO'd character. If that character had been KO'd, they're going to be out here aside the board. You're going to bring them back in to either this area or this area on the board. And then finally you draw a card and then take your turn. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a card. And now when you take your turn, there's a movement phase, an action phase, and a skills phase. These are things you can do one of each of those, but you can do them in any order. So I can move and then take an action and then use my skill, or whatever combination I want to. And at the beginning of the game here, there's not too much I can do to you guys because you're a little bit out of range.
You're very far away from you.
So what I'm going to do, and Moana's way back here. Now when I move her standard movement, I can discard any movement card out of my hand, whether it's Moana's or not, to enhance that. 1, 2, 3, ugh. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm actually just going to go 1, 2 for her standard movement. And then for her skills, it says, if there are 2 or fewer ocean tiles in the arena, place an ocean tile in an unoccupied adjacent space. So there isn't any, so I am going to use her skill now to add this right here.
Nice.
I should have considered doing that first, but oh well. And then I could use an action, but there really isn't anything I want to do. Actually, there is. I've got an interesting card here that is usable as either a move or an action. It is Beyond the Reef. Move up to 1 space. And then I can choose an adjacent rival, but that's not going to happen here. But I am going to move that 1 space, and I'm going to move into that ocean tile that I just dropped, giving me another move, allowing me to move there. And then this ocean tile is removed. So that's going to set me up, hopefully, if she's survived the beginning of the next round.
She's going to survive this turn, yeah.
I'm going to get a victory point from that. But that is the end of my turn. At this point, I have to discard down to my hand size. I've already just got 5, so I'm good.
All right. So that would make it Demona's turn. Again, I'm going to draw a card at the start of my turn, like David did. None of the other stuff applies still yet. And then I'm going to do my actions. So we're going to start actually with movement. And I've got this card with her called Single Out. Move to any unoccupied space that is adjacent to 1 single character. So I will move right here.
A rival character or any?
Any character.
Oh,
any character.
Wow. You know what? She has wings, everybody. I'm guessing that's what's coming into play
here. She can fly
here.
around, and then she's going to deal 1 damage to that adjacent character. So
that's all that card does?
That was my movement.
Whoa.
So she's going to take 1 damage.
So I will pick Moana
and notice
and give her 1 damage.
These clips on the bottom actually track the amount of damage you've taken, so you can pretty easily see with the status of each character. All right, and then I'm going to do my action.
That was a good... I did not know what she had up her sleeve. So.
I'm doing this. It's a spell. It deals 1 damage to each adjacent character.
1 damage?
1 damage. And then I get an additional either movement phase or action phase this round.
What?
Yeah. I haven't done my skill phase yet, so I'm going to do my skill phase. If you have played 2 or more Demona cards this turn, I have, I can add 2 strong to her character.
Okay, so we're going to get some of these status effects. So we're going to bring in strong.
Yep.
And this is kind of cool. They have these tiles that just kind of go in here aside. And you said 2?
2, so it gets 2
Give
strong.
me 2 of those tokens. The tile itself is not the status effect, but the tokens are effectively the counters, and these kind of time out. So she's going to have strong for a little bit.
Her first, she's going to have strong. It does an extra damage.
Yes.
So let's see. And then that deals 1 damage to your adjacent character as well. So she should have taken 2 damage so
that
far.
Ability does?
No, you took both damage for the 2 cards?
Yes.
So what is Moana at right now?
Moana is at 5. She started at 7 health.
All right, she's at 5. All right, I'm going to play Particle Blasts. It's going to deal 2 damage to a rival, but if you're on a star space, or a victory point space, you take 3 damage instead.
Ooh.
So she's going to take 3 from the Particle Blasts, plus 1 from the Strong, so 4 total damage.
Down to 1. This is not a good start.
Demona is a heavy hitter, but that is it for her. That was my movement action, skill, and then my bonus action.
Wow.
Yep.
Woof, woof, woof. I don't know, Moana, if you're going to... I've got some cards here, but she's not going to be able to use anything for a while. So this goes down to Gaston. Let's see what Gaston can do.
Gaston's a heavy hitter.
He is a bit of a heavy hitter. So I'm going to draw a card. Oh, that's a good one to see. All right. Well... All right, so I got a card that I'm going to use. It's not going to be able to be used as well as it could be, but I'll do what I can. So the first thing I'm going to do is move Gaston 1, 2, 3. His movement's normally 2, but I'm going to discard a movement card, one of Moana's, out of my hand to get him there. And then I'm going to take a look. Before I use my action, I'm going to use my skill. Boast, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card has a little sword icon on it, Gaston gains 1 strong.
Ooh.
Otherwise, I take a damage. So it does have a little sword. So I'm going to get 1 strong.
Nice. We're both strong now.
So I'm going to do an extra damage. That's unfortunate that I can't maximize this card. But for my action, I'm going to play Sheer Bravado.
Ooh.
Deal 4 damage to an adjacent rival. So Demona is going to take 4 damage.
Actually 5, right? Because of the strong?
Oh, yes. 5 because of the strong. Unfortunately, if Gaston and that rival had not been adjacent to any other characters, it would have been 6 plus strong, and I would have done 7 damage.
So it does 5 total, right?
Does 5 total for now.
Demona is at a 3, so slide her back in there.
All right. Well, it's not as bad as you have Moana down to.
No, what's Moana at 2?
She's at 1.
She's at 1?
Yeah. So I'm not feeling great about Moana's chances here.
We'll see what happens. Whose turn is it next? Ariel's?
It is to Ariel.
All right, so I got to draw a card here. Let's see what I've got. So Ariel can move 2 normally. I think I'm going to boost her maybe. Yeah, we're going to move 2 spaces plus 1. I'm going to discard this movement card. This is another Demona one that lets her fly anywhere. So
well, I'm glad you're discarding
I know, but I really want to move the 3 spaces because I got to do something about Moana there.
Well, you don't have to.
I think I do have to. And I'm just going to do a normal, regular attack because she's only at 1. I could do 2 damage with Ariel. So I'm just doing a normal attack.
Well, that's
normal. Don't
need
to boost it or anything.
Enough. So that's going to take her down to 0. So Moana is off the board. And we will flip this over. Well, no, we won't flip that over. But we will put her on top of it, just to denote she's off the board. She'll come back on the board at the beginning of her next activation. Yep. And you score some victory points.
So 5 victory points, right, for that character?
5 victory points. And like I said, we're in a race to 12, so that's not nothing.
And then she has a skill. So let's see. We're going to draw the top card of her deck, and I have some options.
It's called Dig for Thingamabobs.
So it is not an Ariel card. If it was, I could just draw it. However, since it's not, I can discard it to heal 1 person 1 health. Actually, I really like this card for Mickey. I'm going to put it back on the top of my deck.
All right.
I think I'd rather draw that card next turn than
probably
than have it be used for 1 health. So
not a bad preview. Okay, we're down to Stitch, huh? So I'm going to draw a card. Okay, that's something like I would want. Oh, that works. That works.
Yeah.
All right. So for Stitch, let me look at his skills. He has Unstoppable. Banish a card from your hand to remove up to 1 status effect from Stitch. Don't have any, so I won't do that. He also has the constant ability, Experiment 626. Whenever Stitch takes 3 or more damage in a phase, Stitch gains 2 tough.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Yeah, that's not bad. So I'm actually just going to use his standard movement to move up to 2. And I'm going to move just here, I think. And then, that was my movement. I'm not going to be able to use any of his skills. But I am going to use this action, Plasma Cannons, which is what I just drew. Has a range of 2. If Stitch has an odd number of health, deal 3 damage divided as you see fit. Oh, ooh. No, I'll stick with this. I could move a little closer and split the damage between your 2 characters, but I think I'm just going to do this. Split 3 damage divided as you see fit between up to 2 rivals, I'm going to put it all on Demona.
Yep.
So Demona, that's going to take care of Demona? It is going to take care of Demona.
So she's knocked out.
So I'm going to put Demona over here. When you knock out a character, if they have any status effects, those all go away. And again,
unfortunately,
she'll come back at the beginning of Demona's next activation.
And you get 5 victory points for that.
And I get 5 victory points, please.
Well done.
Thank you, Stitch.
Yeah, that was
Team captain so far.
That was a nice little blast.
Team captain so far. That's going to be it for my team, my turn, and I've got 4 cards, so I don't have to discard down.
All right, Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey has some work to do. I'm going to draw my card like normal, and here's the one I really liked. So I'm going to move Mickey his normal 2 spaces. 1, 2. I'm going to use his skill, Magical Means. Discard any magic card, so I have one here, to add 1 magic broom to Mickey.
All right, magic broom coming up.
And then I really wanted to use his action to attack, but this attack requires that I have more magic brooms. I don't have enough magic brooms to really make use of it.
Yeah, the magic broom effectively, at the beginning of Mickey's activation, you take one off, but then you can reveal a card and potentially get that back. The whole idea is that Mickey has some cards that have powers that are enhanced by the number of status effect tokens you have. So the magic broom can you can start stacking more and more of them if you can play it right, so that you can get the better version of some of his powers.
And I'll probably do this one next turn. So I'm going to instead then play another magical mob.
Oh.
So this is my action to play, and this gives me 2 magic brooms.
Whoa.
And it would do damage to adjacent rivals, but I could not get within range of you. So we're going to add 2 more to that. And then, because I have the abilities in here, the gears on my cards, I can banish these 3 cards to upgrade Mickey.
Oh.
So next turn, he's going to be a little bit more powerful. He's going to get a new ability. At the end of each phase on Sorcerer Apprentice Mickey's turn, if 2 or more status counters replace that magic broom during that phase, draw a card.
Oh, that would have been
during
nice.
That phase. I know. It would
Yeah,
be nice
that would
to
have
have
been
that
nice.
earlier. But I had to play these cards before I could even
That's pretty
upgrade
impressive.
them.
You got a character upgrade in the first round.
I did.
Well, like we said, that's the end of your turn, right?
That's all 3 of my actions.
And that is the end of the first round. We're going to continue playing this out to see how it goes, to see how long we last. It might be in the second round. It might be a third round
game.
But this game is meant to be played pretty quickly like that. So we'll see how things go. Moana's going to be coming back in right now. We have to deal with sort of upgraded Mickey.
Yep.
And these haven't really come into play yet.
No, we weren't able to capture any one of the victory
So
points.
the current score is what? 5 to 5?
5 to 5.
5 to
go
5.
into it.
So we need 6 more, and it looks like I have a couple characters that would give you 6 points. And interestingly enough, Ryan chose characters that don't get
they're
4,
weak.
4, and
victory
5. Interesting. So anyway, we'll finish out the entire game, and we'll come back in just a moment to tell you about the whole experience.
Yeah.
And we are back, and it did take longer than 2 rounds,
2.5.
but shorter than 3
Just
rounds.
about 2.5.
2.5 rounds. It came down to Gaston.
For sure.
And Gaston was on the board, and I happened to have some Gaston cards in my hand, which did some heavy damage, or else it probably would have gone to the next round, because I think you would have been able to take me out. Long story short, I did prevail today in this game. It was interesting because Moana went off the board a couple times.
Yeah,
right?
twice. That's why I got 10 points off of Moana.
10 points off Moana. He also did an ability, I can't remember the name of it, but he did an ability that did some damage, but also stole one of my victory points.
With Ariel, stole one of your victory points.
Which was interesting because it took me down to 4, but then I was able to...
Yeah, you knocked out Mickey twice. It turns out Mickey was my weak link. He got knocked out, came back onto the board, and then almost immediately got knocked out again.
Yeah,
so
well,
you got
Mickey's,
8 points from knocking him out.
The thing about Mickey is he's got some powerful cards, and he can do a fair amount of damage, so you want to get him in the mix. But I did a couple cool things, too. Not only Gaston, it was just very powerful. Moana had a really interesting turn where she got a lot of that water, those ocean tiles down, and I was able to effectively, I mean, it was really thematic. You know, you're kind of imagining Moana just sliding across this water, getting extra movement, and then I had Ore Strike, which if you moved 4 spaces or more, which I did, you're able to do extra damage. I think I did 4 damage to Mickey, and then Gaston
Gaston
came in and finished him off. But yeah, that was Disney Sorcerer's Arena. I think if I played this again, I'd really want to take a little bit more consideration into the characters.
I didn't know well enough how to build my team. I like Demona, though, a lot. She was definitely my heavy hitter.
Well, yeah, that ability to just kind of pick up and go somewhere. I don't know how many of those cards you had in the deck, but that was interesting. I also felt, I don't know about you, I wasn't seeing a lot of cards in my decks that was giving me health back.
I think it's character specific because Ariel had a lot of healing cards in her deck.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I think you just have to kind of know which characters can do that. And part of that is knowing the game, but also before you're drafting your characters, feel free to look through the decks.
You definitely want to
see what they're doing
to get a sense. But again, like we said, this game plays so quickly. You can play it. You can go, okay, just like we're doing right now.
Yeah, switch it up.
And thinking about what you want to do. Maybe take a closer look at some of your cards. Gaston had some interesting abilities I don't know that anyone else had, where I was able to manipulate, like I said, some of the other players. I was able to shove Mickey 2 spaces, which didn't really prevent you from bringing him back in to the mix.
No, but it made it long either.
You had to use one card at least to move.
Yeah.
So it does make things a little bit more challenging for a player when you can kind of push them around. But that was Disney Sorcerer's Arena, along with the Turning the Tide expansion, or at least 2 characters from that. The other one is Davy Jones.
Yeah, which I'm interested in trying.
From Pirates of the Caribbean. But all of those oceanic characters can move around the water, like we said. But not all of them have those powers. Anyway, if you have any questions at all about this game or our experience playing it more than we've shared with you here, please make them in the comments below. And until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.